I am a Washington County native. I was born and raised. I grew up in the Williamsport halfway area, Williamsport High School graduate, and after college I came back to Washington County to sort of plant roots here. I actually bought a house with my husband, and we are raising our kids in Smithsburg, and I couldn't imagine raising my family anywhere else. It's important for me to give back to the Washington County community because this is where I grew up. Like I said, I was born and raised here, and so this is home to me, and it's some place that means a lot to me. Growing up, I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and she was widowed, just had a blue-collar job, but never hesitated to give whatever she could to anybody in need. I swear she would have given the shirt off her back to somebody even if it meant she didn't have any clothes left. And whether that was throwing her last bit of change into the Salvation Army bucket at Christmas time, or, I even remember she had an entire room in her house filled with things that she would purchase from kids' fundraisers, whether it was a school fundraiser, sports, Boy Scouts, you name it. She was supporting everyone, even though she really didn't have a lot of the extra income to do that. And so I think even from a young age, I saw how important it was to give back with whatever you were able to do, whether it be your time, your treasure, or your talent. And just being invested in the place that I call home means the world to me. I've been incredibly blessed to be involved with a lot of organizations here in Washington County. In 2015, I got the opportunity to join the finance committee for United Way of Washington County, and that was probably my first experience going into serving on having a board involvement. And I loved it because at the time, Washington County nonprofits, several of them were working with United Way to form a financial literacy collaborative, and that's truly my passion. I love making sure that individuals and organizations understand financials and are able to make good financial decisions. And so when I learned that United Way was part of this collaborative, it made a lot of sense for me to get involved. And so I had the opportunity to join their finance committee, and that led into a board position then in 2017. And a couple years later, I became their board treasurer and have been proudly serving in that role ever since. Also in 2017, I joined the board of the Humane Society of Washington County. So in addition to having a passion for financial literacy, I also have a passion for animals, which is probably good considering we have 7 pets in our house, 3 of which have come from the shelter. And so it's just been awesome to get to give my time, treasure, and talents to organizations that I truly support their mission. One of the other things that unfortunately has been on hold a little bit since the pandemic, but that I really enjoyed doing pre-pandemic, was also serving as a GLOW mentor, which it's a program through the Washington County Public Schools Education Foundation. And so I would actually get to go into some of our local high schools and teach financial literacy to high school students in the AVID programs there. So that was really neat because getting to provide them with an education on things that maybe they otherwise wouldn't learn in a public school setting or at home. We talk about things like savings and checking and the difference between those types of accounts, what is interest, and then that sort of builds up into later years talking about budgeting and what's your credit score mean and how does it impact you and future financial decisions that you may need to make. And so that's been a lot of fun and something that I'm hoping to be able to get back into now that we're moving forward post-pandemic. Recently, I have also added the position of being treasurer for my kids' elementary school PTA, which I love because it directly impacts my kids. And I also, even more recently, have been able to be an assistant coach for my daughter's volleyball team, which for most of these kids, this is the first time that they've ever played this sport. And as a sport that I played growing up, it's been a whole other level of fun to teach a sport that I loved, but to also teach these girls things like teamwork and to empower them to improve every week on the court. I've always been an advocate of a lot of the organizations in this community and giving back of my time and talent and treasure, and to just be recognized. That's obviously not the reason that I have gotten into any of my service, but to be acknowledged for the work that I've done in the county is extremely humbling and appreciated. And beyond that, I would say just the daily achievement of having my children see the work that I do. I love that my kids see me go off to work, have a successful career, do the things that I do in the community, and then still come home every night to be at that sporting event or that school dance, or even just to tuck them into bed and know that I can still serve the roles that I need to at home as a wife and a mom and have a successful career and give of my time without feeling like those things are conflicting with each other. I think going forward, I'd like to make sure that I'm intentional about the work that I'm doing. When I started in my career and pre having a family, it was important for me to be involved with as many organizations as possible because I just enjoyed getting to feel like I was making a difference. And now that I have a few more obligations that are taking some of my time, I want to make sure that the work that I'm doing is intentional and completely focused in the organizations that I'm involved with. I don't want to be one of those people that's involved in a little bit of everything but really does nothing. And there's definitely something to be said for quality over quantity. I truly believe in leading by example, not the do as I say, not as I do. And so my hope is that people just see that, as I said, it is possible to have a career, have a family, still have time to give back. I think there's a misconception that you have to be extremely wealthy or be retired or have all this free time on your hands to make a difference. And honestly, that's just not the case. I think, even if you can't serve on a board, but you can volunteer for a project, like a United Way Day of Caring or a specific event, there's all kinds of ways to make a difference in Washington County, and I just hope that other people see that that's an option.